I used AI for one of my latest projects, incorporated AI, let's say, in addition to a few more elements, and I used it in a critical sense and in a circular sense, and I'll explain. I've got this project called Paradise Now, and it's also a project which I exhibited parts of it in the Venice Biennale just recently in a Decentral Pavilion. It was an NFT pavilion. I used it for a work which I said circular, and I'll explain why. Because the origin of the work originated from coffee stains on coffee cups, on coffee plates, which every morning kind of accumulated, underneath an espresso machine. When you take the cup out, then it keeps on dripping, and it kind of collects there, and it kind of forms these amazing random organic landscapes. They kind of seem like landscapes. I mean, they actually have an horizon because the plate is kind of tilted, because my thing is not straight, so it kind of tilts, so that you get half of it is an horizon, and then you have all these crazy land formations and fantastic shapes, very similar like the Bloom art. And I saw these every morning, and I thought, wow, that's amazing. I have to do something with it. And so I started photographing every morning, more and more plates, and I kind of started accumulating them. And then I thought, okay, what's the next step? And so I invented this kind of avatar, which is, he has my figure. It's kind of this like Bedouin figure. He has this cloth over his head. You've probably seen it in some of my posts. And I started, photoshopping it into these landscapes, and suddenly, proportion and scale was introduced, because you have figures, so you understand what scale the landscape is, And then I started taking these and I started feeding them into this kind of AI engine I found, which is into the AI. And I thought, and I started getting all these variations, kind of variations based on what you feed it, and based on landscape the AI already has. So he kind of takes that and kind of meshes them up into something else. And that is exactly what I wanted, to get variations to my own landscape. And then I started morphing them together and getting animations from them as well. And so it was the beginning of something new, really strange, alien landscapes started forming, and, from these coffee cups. And we had this figure in there as well, so there was scale, and suddenly there was some kind of story. And I started also implementing all these text messages onto this landscape, relating to this whole AI phenomena, and the new you, these proclamations, short-term relationships, crypto fart things, which kind of related to this whole, new thing everybody was talking about and looking at, and just being completely and blindly fascinated by it. And so I've had these kind of strange, weird animations, and I started hooking up with music, and then I thought, okay, that's nice. And I was showing it a bit, here and there, making some NFTs from it as well. And then I thought about the last phase, let's say the third angle to this triangle I was building, the circular triangle. And the last phase would be to if you want to sell a frame of that thing, because the frames are so beautiful, they're like crazy fantastic, they look almost like old landscape, digitally renewed. It was, really something else you've never seen before. And the last phase of this project, let's say, would be to choose a frame, decide which size you want it, and send it to Indian craftsmanship in Mumbai or New Delhi, to paint them in the same process and culture as old Bollywood cinema posters. If you remember, they used to make these huge billboard arts back in the day, when before they went digital, and they used to kind of hand paint each figure and make 3D, titles, all hand painted, and it was really beautiful craft. Now that's all gone. They don't do that anymore. That's like a lost craft by now. And I thought, taking this process, which originated originally, went totally digital, and then it goes back to oil on canvas by third party, people which I have no touch with. Sending that image to the east, to the southeast, getting it back to me, a rolled canvas, stretching it back on the wood, here and then, and hanging it on the wall. And it's quite a new project. That was my initial kind of, taste with AI.